Good morning. So, when I think of hope, because of my love of mythology, one of the first things that always comes to mind is Pandora's box. And I like it because according to Greek mythology, it's got a really good message to it. So I'm going to start off this morning telling the story about Pandora's box. Now, according to Greek mythology, the first woman on earth, Pandora, was given a box that she was not to open under any circumstances. Now, she was way too curious not to open it, so she did. And when she did, she released all of the evils on the world. From this box came hate, pain, desire, destructiveness, and starvation. Now, when Pandora saw what she had actually done, she closed the box as quick as she could. But she did it so quickly that the last item that was left in the box remained, and that was hope. And the reason I like this story, and we live in a human world, so we see that all of these negative things are actually out there. But we're also given that one gift, that one thing that can help make it through all of those different things, which is hope. So in Greek mythology, the gods put all these things in a box, but they also put the one thing in there that could help take care of those same things. So I really love that story. Now, the Greek definition of hope means to be intensely expectant, to be confidently looking forward to something you fully expect to happen. It's not a wish. It is something that you see there is a possibility for it to actually manifest in your life. And hope is the belief that circumstances in the future will be better. Doesn't matter what they are today, we know there is a possibility for it to be better. It's not a wish that things will be better, but actually a belief. Even when there is absolutely no evidence and there's nothing that shows you that it will, hope gives us that vision that anything is possible, and you expect that it will. In doing some of my research and what I wanted to talk about this morning, I came across a writer, and I really loved exactly what she said, so I'm going to share this with you. And it's by Elizabeth Garland. And she says, hope keeps you steady. Hope keeps you grounded. Hope works with direction, and it supports and support for you to set and reach inspired goals. Hope is linked to a deeper pool of knowing versus not knowing. And once you're ready, you may release yourself into it, allowing it to flow and be available to you. Hope is connected to your belief system or faith, however you may refer to it. The source, your divine self, the greater spirit, oneness, God, the goddess, the light, the universe. It is true and good for you, and that has value. And I really love this particular reading because I think it talks to exactly who we are here at Common Ground. It doesn't matter how we connect to the divine or to spirit or what we call it, we're all connected to it. And I really love that. And the fact that hope is part of that path is really strong. I just absolutely love that idea. Now, as I said, hope and faith are interconnected, but they are very different. So metaphysically, when we think of hope, it's the expectation of good in the future. And it's a quality of the sense mind. And because it is subject to time. So that is where hope comes in. Faith, when we speak of it metaphysically, is the certain knowledge that our good is ours right now. And it's of God. So it goes beyond time and space. So we start first in a place of hope. We realize there's a possibility for change. And then we move into faith knowing that things will change. So Desmond Tutu says, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. And when you really think about it, when you concentrate on everything that's going on in the world, if all you see is the darkness, you can have a sense of there not being any hope. You can feel hopeless. And yet each one of us knows that there is hope for change. There is a possibility for growth. There is a possibility for renewal. Things can change, and that's where our hope comes in. It's a true feeling that even when we can't see how, because it's not about the how, it's about the knowing that it will. Now, faith and hope are closely linked. And hope is a precursor to faith, as I said. It's very important that you have both of those with you. While faith is believing and trusting in something that you cannot see, hope is imagining that there is something there to even believe and trust in the first place. So again, we start with that hope moving into faith, and it's the belief in what could be. It's a positive affirmation of what can possibly transpire within our lives and the lives of the entire world. And hope redefines what is probable. And I love this. It opens the path to the impossible. So there are no impossibilities. Put very simply, hope involves the will to go there and the different ways to get there. Thomas Fuller writes, hope is one of the principal springs that keeps mankind in motion. Without hope, there's almost no reason to wake up every single morning. And yet, we have a hope that the day will be good. We have that expectation. We know that no matter what yesterday was like, doesn't matter what happened yesterday, today's a brand new day. And there's always hope in a brand new day. So, no matter the situation, you can choose hope as a means of looking toward the future. However, just as easily, hope can be left in Pandora's box. The choice is yours, whether you use that hope, whether you accept that hope, and whether you spread it. Where there is hope, change is always possible. Thank you.
Well, I hope you're not sick of hearing about hope. Because here I go. So, hope is indeed anticipating something really good is going to come for us in the future. Something's coming about. And the truth is, and Nathan alluded to this, we do need hope to survive. It's absolutely true. It's what our dreams feed on. It's what gets past us through those difficult, challenging times in life. For our hopes and our dreams and our wishes to become a reality, we have to invite in that change. And so let's be clear about that, because we all need change in some way. Would you agree with that? Yes. That each and every single one of us want change. Because it's the only constant to personal growth and achievement. And who doesn't love change? Come on. We all love change, right? On this, okay, so sometimes we fight it. We do. And that's just being human. So congratulations, you're a human being. On our spiritual path, we open up to that understanding that if we want our life to change, it won't do us any amount of good to only hope, right? It takes action. We can move, we can change our relationships, we can change jobs. However, this is profound, right? Wherever you go, there you are. So, for us to have change, again, we need to take that action. And action means becoming clear about what we do want as well as what we don't want. We realize that we need to take a look at our perspective about life, how we see life, including those relationships, and including circumstances that we want to be different than they are. For our lives to change profoundly, we need to journey deeply, deeply into who we truly are, into how we see life, what our expectations are, what our hopes are, what our dreams are, what our wishes are, how we want to see life manifest. On this spiritual path that we're on, we notice ourselves becoming more and more willing to take responsibility for our own life, for what's happening around us. Haven't you found that as you travel on this path? Because if we don't take responsibility, we end up staying in that blame game. It's their fault. It's its fault, always outside of us. We don't allow that on our spiritual path because we can't hope that you'll be different. We can only change us. We see the value of bringing in that, recognizing rather, because it's already there, that higher consciousness, and allow it to bring in that light and to fill us with that pure, unconditional love, which is exactly what each and every one of us truly are. Total, complete, unconditional love. That's what lies within you. Our only issue with that is realizing it, because it is already there. It is never our divine reality that's in question. It's how much of that reality that we allow ourselves to experience and to express. So, to embrace that reality takes a transformation or a change of heart. And that is much more and much different than any kind of intellectual response that some of us tend to do, right? We logically think those things through. That doesn't always transfer into a heart-centered decision. We need that spiritual experience to allow that transformation to happen. And to do that, we open our heart. We have to. We have to be willing to be vulnerable. And I don't mean vulnerable just with others, which includes that too. Vulnerable with ourselves. Because sometimes we hide from ourselves, don't we? We all have, every single one of us, we all have the capacity and the wisdom to develop a more magnificent life. Our work is to go deep and find out what that magnificent means for you personally. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your wishes? How can I make that manifest? First through your hope, then through your actions, through your intentions. Enlightenment is not a learning, is what Marianne Williamson tells us. It is an unlearning, a letting go of all the fears that we've gathered as we've walked on our path of life. And that's just a reality, right? We've grabbed things along the way, things that stop us, things that say, you can't have that, you can't do that, you aren't enough. Well, it's about recognizing those things and letting them go. Not hoping they'll go away, recognizing them and taking the action and letting them go. And what happens is then at some point we understand it no longer matters how we got to think or how we got to behave in the way that we do. Doesn't matter. What matters is we recognize it. We make the changes that we feel are going to be beneficial for our lives. We're always a choice right now, here, this moment. Every moment of your life, you are absolutely a choice. You can choose differently anytime you want. You can experience life in a different way. I mean, how cool is that? And you know how we do that? By choosing love. By choosing love to help transform us, to help change our perspective. We want to sincerely look at those things that we don't want before we can make a change, before we can choose differently. What's showing up in my life that I no longer want, that's no longer serving me? Instead of hoping it will go away, look at it right in the face. Be with it. And then make that change. Take action. Course in Miracles says, the greatest power that God has given us to change the world is the power to change our thoughts about the world. That's where all the power lies. In our thinking, in our actions, in our intentions, in our hopes, our dreams. When we do that, when we change our thoughts, not only do we make some shifts and changes, the world transforms as well. Because what affects one affects all. And we all know that. As we remember who we are and we stand in our power, we think and act and then experience life differently. Have you ever realized that? When you're in that place and that you feel that connection with the divine, with Source, God, Spirit, you feel that connection, your life is different than when you're running around like a crazy person trying to get things done, trying to fix a problem, right? When we are centered and in direct, acknowledge our direct connection, life is different. We respond differently. We cannot control everything that happens. We cannot control anything that happens out there. What we can control is how we react and how we act. That's what we can control. So let's keep that hope alive. Let's keep making those changes in our life to be happier, to live our life a little more lightly, maybe. Let's stay open and move forward with hope and change so we will realize our hopes, our dreams, and our desires. So our life will shift in a way that we want it to shift. Embrace life. Embrace all of what life has to offer you. And you know how to do that? Here you go. Step out of your comfort zone. One of the hardest things I think for us human beings to do. Step out of your comfort zone. Woodrow Wilson wrote this. Now, this is a few years ago, as you know. You are not here merely to make a living. You're here to enable the world to live more fully, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world. Wow. You impoverish yourself if you forget this errand. Wow. But that's how powerful you are. That's who you are at your core. So never let go of hope. Move it into manifestation, into making a change in your life for the better. Thank you so much.